Traveling the Vortex.
We've joined the Doctor as he travels the Vortex, and I've found the red LTD button for episode number 366.
Well, first of all, it's a switch and not a button.
And secondly, it's green and not red.
Oh. Well, I'm Keith.
I'm Sean.
I'm Glenn.
How are you guys?
Good. Very good now. Feeling a lot better.
I'm very excited about this.
Got lots of energy for tonight's show.
Yeah.
A bit of an upswing.
What'd you guys do this week? Keith, I hear you watched some movies.
We watched a couple of movies.
What'd you watch, Keith?
We watched X-Men Days of Future Past Rogue Cut, which we really liked. I thought it really improved the film. Not that it needed to be improved, but it really fleshed things out a little bit more, gave the film a little bit more to breathe. And
How much more Rogue is in it?
not a whole lot more Rogue, but the nice thing is it's not just Rogue they added in. There's other bits and pieces throughout the film.
Ah.
There's a great scene when they arrive at Quicksilver's house with his sister before they even meet Quicksilver.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So there's nice...
His sister Wanda.
Yeah, they didn't name drop her, but yeah. But there's just a lot of great little stuff like that throughout the film, in addition to Rogue being added to it, that makes it definitely worth seeing, and that's probably the version we'll watch from here on out. And then we got out and saw Murder on the Orient Express.
Oh, that was so good.
We really liked it, too. Sarah actually thought it was campier than it was going to be. She thought Perot was a little bit of a campy character with the mustache and kind of the gimmicks and stuff. But
There was definitely a lot more humor in it than I was expecting.
Yeah, especially the mustache cover.
That was the best part.
Still clipping along on my MCU rewatch. Last night I watched Iron Man 3. So I'm current.
Iron Man 3?
Wow, you're really way ahead.
Iron Man
Jumped
2.
way ahead.
Iron Man 2. So I'm current. No, I'm doing them in the reverse machete order where you watch them all backwards. You go like back in time. It's good.
Oh.
Yeah.
I went and saw Star Wars again. It was awesome. Again.
All right.
I liked it even more the second time.
Let's move on to news.
Not a lot in the news this week. There's a little convention that we learned about, at least I learned about, and it's not so little. Regeneration Who 4 in Baltimore, March 23rd to the 25th, has one heck of a lineup. Probably better than Galley this year.
Who they got coming, Keith?
Peter Capaldi,
Yay!
Peter Davison,
Oh.
Colin Baker,
Oh.
Michelle Gomez,
Oh.
Rachel Talalay, Carol Ann Ford, William Russell, Nicola Bryant, Sarah Sutton, Matthew Waterhouse, Janet Fielding, Mark Strickson, Michael Jaston, John Leeson, and Terry Malloy, along with some other folks that I'm not even going to list because that's already too long of a list to begin with.
That is a heck of a lineup.
Yeah. This is their 4th year. I don't know where this has been on my radar up until now, but wow.
I've seen ads come up, not ads, stuff on Facebook come up over the years, so I was aware of them, but I don't think I've ever looked very closely until you posted the Peter Capaldi thing, and I went, wow.
The chance to meet Peter in this kind of environments, it's not going to be a Wizard World. It's not going to be a Planet Comic-Con. This is going to be a nice, intimate convention in comparison to those.
I think maybe just because it was East Coast, I kind of subconsciously ignored it. Because, that's travel. I got to get out. Although, that imaginary sister you keep making up, she used to live in Baltimore, didn't she?
She used to, yeah. And about 3 years ago, moved to Colorado.
Well, that's no good to you.
Yeah, I know. They did have Pearl Mackie as a guest, but she had to cancel because of her play on West End stuff. So that shows how the high of caliber that they're getting the people.
That's impressive.
It's very good. Very cool.
Well, if anybody's going, remember us.
That's right.
Yes, be our roving reporter, please. And our other bit of news is you should head over to the Goodreads Book Club and vote in February's poll. The new poll is up, and you have until the end of the month.
Check this out. I already did.
Oh.
I was the first person to vote on the poll, and I've not read the January book yet. So it's the small victories. That's what I'm claiming from
What
this.
was the January book? I forgot.
Plague City?
That
Oh,
one.
Right.
So your options include a 12th Doctor book, and the rest are 9th Doctor books.
We haven't done very many Ninth Doctor books yet, have we? We did Stone Road. No, that wasn't even.
That was the 10th Doctor.
That was 10.
We
Did Only Human, but that was, I don't think, was one of the book club
I don't know if
selections.
I think it was.
I don't remember if it was or not.
You know. Well, get on that. If
So
you
go
are
vote.
not a member of the Goodreads Traveling the Vortex book club, you should do so.
It's free
It is free. It's one of the few things in life that are.
and friendly.
Yes.
What
we
more do you
strive to
want?
that.
Keith, do we have any feedback this week?
No feedback this week.
But if they want to send it, what do they do?
Just go to our website, travelingthevortex.com, and fill out the Send Us Feedback tab. Or you can send it directly to feedback@travelingthevortex.com, or reach out to us on any form of social media.
Cool. Let's do some reviews.
Reviews.
Doctor Chronological Order, starting first with...
The Beast of Orlok. With fangs like splinters, claws like knives, the Beast of Orlok gobbles lives. With brimstone breath and eyes aglow, he'll eat your soul. To hell you'll go. Germany, 1827. The town of Orlok is under a curse, haunted by the memory of a spat of grisly murders that shattered the community 20 years before. At the time, townfolks blamed the legendary Beast of Orlok, the nightmarish creature from the medieval folklore, and now it seems the beast has returned. As the killings begin again, the people of Orlok are understandably suspicious of two strangers newly arrived in their midst. The Doctor and Lucy must face their darkest fears if they are to find themselves plunged into a decidedly grim fairy tale.
Bum, bum, bum.
Quite literally.
Well, yeah, the main characters are Hansel and Gretel.
Yeah.
Or, excuse me, Hans and Greta.
Hans.
This was an enjoyable story.
You know,
I don't want to use the word fun romp because it's kind of darker than that, but I had a blast while listening to
death
it.
and dismemberment. Yeah, it's a little bit. It's funny because I put this one on the schedule, and I was thinking, well, I wonder what the guys will make of this, in particular Glenn. And I kind of put it off on my re-listen until late this week, and then I finally popped it in, and it started, and I had to go back and check because it was totally not the story that I was thinking of. I had cross-pollinated 2 other stories.
Oh.
And so then I'm listening to this going, man, I don't really remember much of this at all because I thought it was going to be this one with the thing. And then it's, I was like, oh, no, okay, there's the beast and there's the forest. Okay, I remember that. I wonder what's going to happen next. I just kind of got along for the ride. So then when it ended, I realized it's like, okay, that totally was not the story that I thought I had scheduled. I mean, it's the right one. It's the one we had to listen to, but it's not what I thought it was. For me, what made this one worth it is the performance and the characterization of the Doctor and Lucy.
Yeah.
That relationship, it's like, I really could care less about whatever monster thing is running around in the woods at this point. But listening to them deal with it is the highlight of the piece.
Yeah, their chemistry is just spot on again, especially after Orbis. It's nice to see them back in the groove and having so much fun together.
I would agree. I enjoyed the story a lot. I'm kind of like you. It's fun romp's the wrong way to say it, but it's one of those you just kind of enjoy listening to it.
There's not a lot of depth to it.
There's not a lot of depth, but it's,
But I guess that's why I think it's a fun romp, because there isn't a lot of depth.
yeah.
There's not a lot of mental.
It's kind of a standard
you have to do
standard
to it.
fairy tale. It's got traveling gypsies who aren't really gypsies, and it's got
It's a nice Doctor Who
castle
twist
with
on
with
a fairy tale.
and a Meisterburger, and a count.
All
in a
stories should
castle.
have Burgermeisters in them, let's be honest.
Yeah, it's great.
Creatures.
It's got a lot of neat the setup with the button. Talking about the button that's marked TDL or TDL
LTD.
LTD one. I guess I went dyslexic there for a minute. LTD and alluding to what it means and things like that, and that paying off at the end when he's lost in the rubble. I thought was a great idea, especially Lucy having that callback to wait. Because somebody says, it'll be hard to locate the Doctor, or we'll never locate the Doctor, it'll take years to locate the Doctor. And just those key words was like, oh, wait a minute.
I think part of the fun of the story is the fact that it's just a series of kind of misdirections, but they're very subtle throughout the whole thing. That you get a villain who's not who you think he is.
Yeah.
And then you get a bunch of townsfolk who are not really who you think they are. And you get Hans and Greta who are not who you think they are. And it just kind of keeps throwing them out there. and almost to a, this one's slightly more ridiculous than this one's slightly more ridiculous than this one, and it just kind of keeps going until you get to the end and you're like, all right, you've gone this far, why not? I'll grant you a little more.
I love the twist of who Hans and Greta really are.
Yeah.
I didn't see that coming.
No, I didn't either.
Yeah.
It was just a nice surprise more than anything else.
Oh, and I love their mom.
Yes.
That's a fun character.
Well, I like that she shows up and rescues the doctor there, too, at the end. Or not the end, there in the middle. I thought that was kind of cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because she knows who he is. And the other thing is that the nice little nod, and I didn't it's one of those revelations of when she shows up and realizes that the Count isn't really the Count because she blinded him back in the day, and Lucy makes the mention that he, looked at her with his eyes. So
The Count's blind. How do you know? I'm the one that blinded him.
yeah. It was pretty good. I quite enjoyed it. There was a moment when the revelation of what the big beast thing was, that it was a golem. When I first heard it, I thought he called it a colon. And
that brings up a whole different visual image.
In my befuddlement of,
Dogma.
did he just say colon? And there's a line, and I'm not going to remember it exactly, but it talks about when my colon squeezes them through something. I don't remember exactly how I was with it. So then I had this imagery of like, wait a minute, what did he just say? And I literally had to rewind the audio and listen again, and I realized he said golem, and I went, okay, that makes a lot more sense.
Oh.
The imagery wasn't as good after I realized how they were going to squeeze
imagine
him.
it was all a little bit of a letdown after that.
Squeeze him through that colon.
I was quite pleased with the reveal of a golem, just because it's like, oh,
It's not something we get very often in Who.
yeah, well, because it's in that standard Who story, it's so set up to be a beast. It's, teeth and claws, and it's probably a wolf or a werewolf type creature. Or,
Yeah, that's kind of where I thought they were going with
that's just where we're headed. Okay, that's a golem. Oh, now I don't know why calling it by a different name means something cooler to me.
Well,
but
it's not a wolf, though.
It's not a wolf.
It's
So-
not really sentient either.
Yeah.
So that makes it different. It makes it cool.
And the fact that it's a battle golem, that it's a specifically designed weapon that once you give it an order, it can't be countermanded. And it's like, wow, this is almost up there with the Time War imagery of that's a cool thing to have. I think it's going to backfire and it's going to kill this guy in a minute. But
It's quite a weapon.
Yeah.
no one's ever taken out a golem before.
I liked Hans too.
Mm-hmm.
He and Lucy had really good chemistry together.
Lucy really has pretty good chemistry with everybody.
Yeah.
Which is funny to say that, considering how on the fence you guys were originally with Lucy and how much she's kind of grown on you like a fungus.
That's kind of like the Donna effect.
Yeah.
You can she's who you can most equate Lucy to.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the comics.
I have lots to talk about with the comics.
The Doctor has abandoned his crew to chase a mysterious message into deep space. As Cindy recovers from the splitting headache she developed in her most recent adventure, Gabby's mysterious block transfer butterfly powers evolve even further. But will the team ever be reunited? And what secrets will the Doctor find waiting for him out in the cosmic dark?
Bob, Bob, Bob! I can't go louder because the baby's asleep. But
Really?
this might be the pinnacle of certainly the 10th Doctor line for me. This was my Avengers. This was the icing on the cake and the whipped cream and the cherry on top. It brought everything that we've been reading for the last 3 years to a very wow, cool, oh, look at that. And it all tied in, and and of course it's very heavily character driven between Gabby and Cindy.
I like
And
the
I
character
love
stuff.
Gabby so much that I was over the moon for this whole story. And it was beautiful artwork. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful artwork through the whole thing. Glenn disagrees.
I didn't hate it. No, it's what it's got going for it is Sarah Jane shows up.
Yeah.
I was ecstatic about that.
Oh yeah, and then there's some fan service.
There's a lot of fan service. Even
It's more than fan service.
The imagery of
the imagery is the fan
of
service.
the entity that has drawn him to that point is the old Vortex Open
Yeah.
from the classic series. Specifically, I think most obviously it's the background of the third Doctor with the red because of the color in it.
Yeah.
So I liked those moments. I thought those were really cool. Not enough happens for me is the problem that I have with this one.
That's where I come down.
Is
on
there's
it,
a lot of chatter. There's a lot of Lucy and Cindy and Gabby not doing anything
and not being
for a long
friends,
time.
Really?
Yeah, and they're kind of just the Doctor kind of just leaves them, which it works for the story because there's a reason behind that. It's a learning thing. In fact, it's kind of a pinnacle that sets up the ultimate issue of Gabby's condition doing what it does because he's left her, and that's the reason why she becomes this entity, or her transformation down the road, or whatever high-minded thing you want to find. You want to find it. The problem with it is it does nicely tie up or call back to a lot of things that's been set up, but nothing happens. There's what is it? 4 books, 4 parts.
Yeah, 4
There's
issues.
4 comic books of nothing going on, and I think that's its biggest downfall. Is I agree the artwork is beautiful, but it just feel like if this had been maybe 2 books, I might have enjoyed it better because I would have felt like it was clipping along and answering a lot of things. But to stretch it out for as long as it did, and it's almost like Sarah Jane's dropped in there as filler. I do like that she kind of helps Gabby with the healing, and even Cindy to a point, kind of explaining, I've been there, I know what you're feeling. She kind of acts as a surrogate counselor for them, which I think works real well. But there's far too much of nothing going on. I like the encounter between 12 and 10, although I'm not quite sure. It doesn't make sense. Yeah, it doesn't make sense why 12 needs to show up there, other than give him a hint. But if that's the case, why doesn't previous or later Doctors go back and warn previous Doctors more often?
Yeah.
I mean, that was just a little too cavalier and too easy.
They do. We just don't see it.
Well, perhaps. No, it's. There's nothing bad about this story other than the fact that they spend way too many. They spend their wills way too much getting from point A to point B.
I can agree, I can understand that. I disagree that. Let me rephrase. I don't disagree with you. I'm okay with it from the standpoint that because it's all character building and we are resolving that character arc, at least up to this point. This isn't a plot-driven episode. This is a let's flesh out the characters episode. And because I like these characters so much, I was fine with 4 issues of it. It didn't bother me at all.
I guess I just felt like there should have been a better resolution to it.
Well,
too.
maybe so, but I don't even feel like there was a lot of character building. I mean, there is, but there isn't.
There's a lot of character exploration.
Yeah, there's a lot. That's it.
Okay, there
it's
we go.
Character exploration. That's why it's unnecessary. If there had been more character building, then yes. But we've already built to this point over 3 years. It's at this point that now there's a lot of exposition there, and I just really feel like it's, for the length of it, is unnecessary. But again, I enjoyed it. It was good. It's a good read. It's a good story, and a culmination of 3 years to this point, I think, works. I also liked the little stepping away. I wish we'd have got more of it. Stepping away to Newbie, who's off doing his thing and obviously finding a romance. But there's not enough of that, which I hope they're holding for this final story arc of the season, because we've got one more element to this this year that'll wrap this up, and I'm hoping that they're setting the stepping stones to whatever's going to happen there. But I agree with Keith. It felt like the resolution was a little bit of a letdown as well.
Like it's resolved by him hugging her.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem like it resolves it.
Well,
really.
ultimately, all he has to do is convince her he's not leaving her.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it boils down to.
But so I guess part of me doesn't believe it because he will eventually. We know this. He's going to leave her somewhere, whether she leaves him tragically or he has to leave her tragically or something.
I almost think she has to leave him tragically now because of the resolution of this.
And then part of me wonders, unless she dies, how will that not fulfill this from happening? Because she's still left. When she's talking about, you left me, we're made to believe that she was talking about left in that house. We don't know that for sure.
Yep.
It could be interpreted as left her anywhere.
Right.
So it could be a Rose situation where it's left her. Oh, look, now this still happens.
Right.
So I guess I feel like I wish we would have resolved the issue more on that aspect of things.
Nope, didn't care. I was just quite happy with it. I was a little surprised that we spent as much time wrapping up the previous
there was
Chinese arc. It's like, wow, we don't normally get the cleanup. This feels like cleanup.
I like the carryover there, though,
Yeah.
especially of Gabby being so traumatic of seeing Cindy's death.
That was good. It was
that was great stuff right there.
And I think that's why I think the cleanup was good and necessary, and glad that they did that because it did give Gabby something to have to deal with in at least the first part of this story.
Well, and I'm glad they did because I don't think they dealt with it a lot in the previous run, other than just the fact that they're clones of you. I don't remember there being a big kind of. Maybe I'm wrong, but when we reviewed it, I don't remember that.
They with the ancestry thing was dropped there.
Yeah,
that she's her own grandmother. But the other thing I liked was Keith's over there rolling his eyes again.
That's all right.
Yeah,
I'm not going to rehash.
The other thing I liked about this was they explained what the grandfather and grandson were. That they were these guardians that they were watching. And so it explained why the narrative was done the way that it was done, and which is what I was unsatisfied with in the last time. The last set that we reviewed was I was unsatisfied with the fact that we didn't get that resolution, but we do finally get that in this one. So again, I thought this was a fine set of stories. It just was too much. It didn't need to be as long as it was.
It always seems that around this time in the year run, there's kind of a lull. The stories take a little dip before they ramp up, and that's what this felt like. This was the dip of the season, where it's kind of
the third episode dip before the finale.
Yeah, pretty much.
Unless you're Sean, and this was the hill, and it's probably going to go down for him. Hopefully, it'll go up to a climax for us, but it'll be rolling down, spiraling.
The rest of it will all be plot based, and I'm sure Anubis will come back, and we'll deal with the Sirens again, and it'll be a great world threatening end of everything kind of. I don't know. Maybe it's because we don't get stories like this very often.
I would agree with that.
Yeah,
we don't get to see that the Doctor has a safe house. We don't get to see the Doctor stop in at the junk dealers and
if we would
have tea.
If we read some old comics, I'm wondering if this is the safe house that's in that. Did we read that story? We did
read that one
when we did the Mandragora series. That art, I was wondering if this is that same house. I didn't look like it. I don't think that was a. I think that was a wider, kind of more mansion-like, and this is almost like a 2-story townhouse kind of house. But it would have been cooler had it been. But
he's just got multiple safe houses.
Oh yeah, all over London, all over everywhere.
It's like thunder every time you say.
Oh, sorry. Also, did anybody else read Hello Bambi in Capaldi's accent? Just for some reason, that just struck me as, yes, absolutely, that's what he would call him. I don't know why. I don't know why Bambi fits, but it does.
So I think I would have enjoyed the character stuff a little bit more had it been Gabby and Cindy being the friends that I know that they are, instead of having that wedge driven between them.
The wedge almost feels unnecessary. I mean,
it makes sense initially, but I wish they would have gotten over that hump.
It's a traumatic event for Gabby anyway.
Yeah.
But it doesn't feel like that they...
I think it was I think it was necessary from the standpoint that it gives... Gabby has to go off and draw in order for the block computations to become this thing. And so if she's just in her room doodling for large chunks of it while still being friendly with Cindy, it that seems kind of an odd...
removes the drama.
Yeah, a little bit. But more importantly, I think it gives Cindy that opportunity to kind of unburden herself to Sarah Jane and form that liaison so that Sarah Jane doesn't just show up as fan service, that she actually is an integral part of the story. And then, more importantly, for Sarah Jane to kind of let slip that long-held fan belief that I have always shipped the romance potential between her and a certain person who will go nameless because we all know who it is, and then kind of nudge Cindy into this is why you feel this way, and Cindy suddenly realizes, oh, yeah, you're right. That to me is just
I did like that stuff too.
That's really spoke volumes about these characters, and so I really appreciated that. I don't know. It's sorry. You're not wrong. There's nothing happening. It's a soap opera. It's a 4-part soap opera. It's this one. But it was
I wouldn't go that far, but
it was just I found it a very captivating soap opera. It was one that if I was home from sick. Oh, and the backstory with the doctor and Barusa. That was fun.
yeah,
That was, again, fan service, but that was fun.
That's probably what, because I
just don't think it was better than the sum of its parts.
Care.
That's
Yeah,
what your
I
problem.
don't. That's the I love fan service. I'm sorry. I know a lot of people get tired of it, especially mainstream fans. They look at it and they go, "This doesn't serve me." But I love all those little elements about it. And there are a lot of those, and I think that's what elevated this story for me is the fact that Sarah Jane's there, the Verusa drops, all these little things, the Vortex imagery. I thought that was really cool. I wish there'd been more meat to it.
It's a lot of candy
I'm
instead
kind
of
of
some
hoping
sustenance.
that because our reluctance to think that this resolved well, I hope that's paid off because there is another 4-story arc in this year that we still have to do.
5, I think. This went to 10, didn't it?
Yeah, but
Normally it goes to 15.
Normally it goes to 15.
Well, from what I have on our list of stuff, this went to 14. So maybe there's one more out there. If there is,
I don't think they've
5
released
issue.
15 yet.
Oh, it's not out yet. Okay,
I
well
think.
then that might be why. So
I think their Lost Dimension threw things out of whack on their release stuff.
okay. You're right. They do usually go to 15, but
Back in that point, there might actually be 16.
Well, last time they went 17.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I don't know. Maybe it's weird because I hear myself defending this story, and I'm using the exact same argument for why I didn't like the Christmas Story. That it was all fan service and no real meat. Nothing happened, and that was what disappointed me with that. But that's the exact reason why I like this one, and I don't know that that's fair now that I've thought of that, but I did.
Well, sometimes the trappings of the fan service or the what's happening matters.
Yeah. It gave me warm fuzzies. I was appreciative of warm fuzzies.
I got some warm fuzzies out of it. I'll give you that. I can understand that. All right. Well, what do we got coming up on the schedule?
Keith's still digging around looking for it.
They don't release theirs. They don't release beyond what's out, so I don't know.
Gotcha. Well, next week on the schedule, we are looking back at Stephen Moffat's time as showrunner of Doctor Who with a full retrospective, and I'm sure there will be some warm fuzzies, and I'm sure there will be some a lot of dessert and no substance as we cover that time frame. And then the following week, we will be discussing Lethbridge Stewart, Travers and Wells. For some reason, I blanked on the professor's name. I can't believe I just did that. Travers and Wells, the novella, and we will have our full review of that for you.
All right. Well, if you can support us or you'd like to support us, if you're already supporting us on Patreon, there is a button on the right hand of the page, travelingthevortex.com. Link to Patreon where you can help support this show. And if you're already supporting us, we appreciate every bit of it. It goes right back into this podcast. Anything else you guys want to talk about this week before we close the show out?
I don't think so.
Cool. Well, that's going to do it for this week. Until next week, I'm Glenn.
I'm Sean.
No, I'm Keith.
Cheers.
Good night, everybody.
Be seeing you.
Thanks for listening.
You have been listening to Traveling the Vortex. Doctor Who and all of its associated programs are owned and trademarked by the BBC. No infringement is intended or implied.